Our first question this week, Lord, from Phoenix. It's from Phoenix. And it says, I'm 21 years old. I've been dating a guy named Apollo since May 30th.
Dump him.
Apollo's actually not a bad guy.
Oh, okay. I mean, I don't know any though.
Yeah, no, I just skimmed ahead. We started out as fuck buddies, and the vibe was kind of perfect, so we both caught feelings. I always use condoms because duh, and also as a bottom, I'm way more vulnerable to contracting an STI. The second time I spent the night with him, he showed me his test results. It turns out that he's positive, and he's been undetectable for years. He contracted it over a half a decade ago, and he's taken exceptional care of himself since he got it. Also, I've been on PrEP since May. I know that condoms are 99% effective and PrEP is greater than 90% effective, and a person who is undetectable has less than a 4% chance of transmitting HIV, but my aunt found out about his status and she's losing her mind. She refuses to let him hang out at our home, and yes, it is our home. I pay part of the rent, cable, and electric bill, and I'm the one who's on the lease, so this is by no means her house. I even helped her pay her part of the bills when she was not doing well. She's losing sleep over this and is very anxious. When I'm home, the energy of the house is strange. She locks herself up in the room and refuses to talk to me. I tried to talk to her and gave her all those statistics, but she still refuses to budge. My aunt has been like a parent to me since I don't talk to my actual parents. In fact, my parents didn't go to my college graduation because I went in drag and my aunt chewed them out for it. I know she cares about me and that's why she feels some type of way, but I refuse to contribute to HIV stigma, and also Apollo is an amazing guy in every way. I've fallen hard for him and I'm certain he feels the same way. I'm pretty sure we're less than a month from being an official couple, and the last thing I want, I love that so much. These kids are so cute.
Where does that come from?
And the last thing I want is for my aunt to hate my boyfriend for something that happened to him way before he met me. What do you think I should do? Thanks, sincerely, Phoenix.
So this is something the boyfriend found out recently?
So, well, they've only been dating since the end of May. So it had to have been recently because this is like, this is the end of June. So it's been a month.
Okay, well, I mean, I agree with not, participating in that stigma. It's unfortunate that so many people don't take the time to educate themselves about these things, and they live in ignorance, and not only living in the ignorance, they feel like they can also advise you on it when it's like, but I actually read the information.
No, right. I have science on my side is the problem here.
Like, I know that you're wrong.
Yeah.
and you don't, because you don't.
Right. And it's so much harder to do when it's like an authority figure and someone that you have turned to because your actual parents abandoned you in a certain way. So it's like you really have this intense connection with your aunt and you love her and she's been down for you in ways that your other family members haven't. And at the same time, she's really ignorant about this one thing. Like, she won't let him come over with it. She's scared he's going to use a cup and get AIDS in her house. Like,
It's honestly like,
man,
like the plot point to several sitcoms from the 1980s.
Yeah. Everybody had that HIV episode.
Every fucking show between like 1986 and like 99.
Yeah.
So
Tommy has HIV, but I used the water fountain right after he did. And then here come the nurse with, don't be silly, boys.
Remember when like Elise Neal was on Girlfriends and she had it or something?
Yes.
They were like cooking, she cut her hand.
Oh my God.
Or something.
Yes.
And then I think Joan wanted to throw the knife away.
Right.
And then she kept it and then she didn't want to. And I was like, girl, okay, we've come so far. And science has made all of these leaps forward in order to...
It does not have to be a death sentence.
Right. I mean, and it hasn't been for such a long time. But not only that, you can really live like a normal life. Not only if you have it, but if you're in a relationship with someone who has it. So I understand that there aren't people who understand that. And it's unfortunate. But your aunt should have a bit of comfort in knowing those things and also trusting that you know to take care of yourself and you know what you're doing. And I understand that because she loves you, she just wants, what's best for you. And for a lot of people, that's like their biggest fear. When they find out that they have like, especially a younger male family member or someone that they're guarding that's gay, then they're just like, oh my God, you gonna get AIDS. It's like,
oh Lord. Well, like, not really. That's just not, it's not like a rite of passage.
Right.
You know?
Like, they don't invite you to some cult where they're just like, okay, so it's AIDS Day. I don't know what.
Oh God, like, short term girls.
Like, calm down and trust that. I mean, first of all, you're going to not only, the odds of you dating someone or meeting someone, a friend even, who has it, or who's dated someone who has it, or who slept with someone who has it, as a gay man, like, come on, girl. Like, we know what the statistics are. At this point, it's about making sure that we, take care of ourselves so it's not still being spread. But you can't really change people's thoughts and their feelings. And hopefully, through more conversation and you just having a healthy, happy relationship, she'll see that it's just a thing that you deal with. It's just a part of certain people's lives. And as long as you're happy and you're healthy and, y'all ain't bashing each other over the head with computers and stuff, she should just be happy for you. And hopefully she'll eventually figure that whole thing out. I don't know if you're going to have to go up to her every Sunday morning and wake her up and be like, I'm still negative, girl. Or like, what is it that she wants you to do?
Yeah, she's really got to step out of the ignorance on this. Like, it sounds like maybe she heard some statistics about HIV AIDS 25 years ago and hasn't heard shit else since then and doesn't realize that, like, it is not, when I was a teenager in the 90s and my gay friends told me they had HIV, it was like a, bitch, let me sit down and tell you this really, terrible thing because, and at that point it was like, we don't know, how long you'll be alive type of situation. Like it really did used to be a much scarier conversation. But the thing is, like, not talking about it, like your aunt just being like, oh, well, I just don't want to hear about, anything related to science, doesn't help make anything better. Like, talking about it reduces the stigma, and like getting tested and you catch it early and you get started on your medication early and you can be
much
undetectable.
Like many other illnesses and stuff like
like
that.
So many, it's like,
it happens, you treat it, you live your life.
My God, yes, it is like, maybe this is not the best example, but I had a friend who developed diabetes at some point in his life, and it was the sort of thing where he didn't realize he was sick until he ended up in the hospital, and they were like, hey, your blood sugar is like crazy high and it seems like maybe it just does this, so you need to take this medication and do this in your life, and it's like diabetes is a thing that you have, but it can be managed and you can still live a perfectly normal, great life with it, but you do have to take care of yourself. HIV is so similar to that nowadays that really, that you just have to, your aunt has to be open to being educated about it. She really does. That's the only reason that she feels away. She must be scared that you're going to get sick and then her nephew's going to be gone or something like that. Or she's scared that he can come and breathe HIV all over your house or something, which is just, oh God.
Another thing that a lot of, I don't want to say elders, because I don't know how old your auntie is, but a lot of, men and women who are a bit older than this generation, they'll be stuck on that thing and they don't want to talk about it, and they, it may seem like they're really ignorant, but in truth, they may not be telling you that they've lost people. They, like, a lot of these people have friends that died because of HIV AIDS complications because they grew up in that era. Where
the 80s and 90s.
Right.
Yeah.
And so, having friends that you see go through that type of stuff and losing them, and then, like, I get it. I understand where she's coming from, but, that doesn't mean that you should just leave a really great guy. That doesn't mean that you should just make somebody feel like they're worthless or they're not worth dating because of it. You know what I'm saying? And I don't want to minimalize that experience for anybody who actually, is positive, because, I don't want to do that. But I understand wanting to have a relationship. Sometimes I feel like I'm the worst person to give advice to because I'm so easy to just be like, oh, so you good on me then? Because all right, cool, bye. And I'm just going to exit, and not everybody
and
is like
that. It's got to be different.
For many people. So I can't just be like, well, if your auntie don't like it, well, then you pack up your stuff and get out. And no, you don't speak to her. And just I mean, I can't. I can't expect that everybody's going to react that way. So, but it's just something that she's going to have to some way, somehow take the time to actually figure out what it is that's going on, how, you know, treatment works and all of this type of stuff. Because truthfully, and this isn't even just heterosexual people, negative people, positive people, everybody really. If you're sexually active, you should read about these things.
I mean, right. You should be using condoms. And the fact that you are using condoms every time and you're on PrEP and your little boyfriend has been undetectable for how many years or whatever means that y'all are pretty much having the safest sex.
The safest possible sex. You know what I'm saying? like
you
if you would just read a couple of things.
The only thing safer is like abstinence. Like
right. The only thing you could be doing that would be safer than what you're doing right now is not fucking. Right. You on PrEP and using condoms and he's undetectable.
Right. It's like, girl, but straight people are having way riskier sex than this every day.
Come on.
But your aunt probably thinks of it as a gay thing as opposed to a people thing. Yeah. And I mean.
And why? Because science showed them that it's so much easier to contract it through anal sex and so on and so forth. So you'll listen to science because of that, but you won't listen to science tell you what the fuck you got to do.
Right. So you won't listen when science says, hey, girl, we have all these pills and potions that you can take if you do have it to get your viral load under control. And if you don't, here's something to keep you from getting it. And also here's condoms in every clinic so that you can wrap it up every time, regardless of whether you know the other person's status or not. Like, there's so many gains that have been made as far as this conversation is concerned.
You can just manage this. You can manage it.
It can really be done.
And it shouldn't be this, you know, whole dramatic thing. But I just think that a lot of people really enjoy being able to look down on others, and whichever ways you can do that, you're going to do it.
Yes.
It just
sad. That's sad.
You know, it is really sad. It's really pathetic. It's awful. But at least you can say that you've, you know, educated yourself. You take the necessary steps to protect yourself and who you sleep with. And that's all we need. You know what I'm saying? And hopefully if your aunt is active as well, she's doing the same thing for her and her partner or partners. That's the most we can ask. I can't go around begging everybody to use their common sense or just do a little bit of research.
Or even just
But I can ask that if you fucking just use condoms.
I just want y'all to use condoms, really.
Use condoms.
So many of these emails are like, had y'all just use condoms, okay? The pill under Obamacare is free. Every time I go get it every month and they're like, no copay. I'm like, excuse me? It throws me off every time that the birth control pill has no copay anymore. It's just, we realize that people need it and so many people need it, and it treats a lot of different, it's not just an anti-pregnancy thing. Like, it can regulate your hormones if you have trouble with that. It can help get rid of cysts if you have PCOS. It regulates your periods. It's all this different stuff that the pill does that, you know, it makes sense for it to be available widely and at zero cost for anybody who needs it. But here go the Republican. You know what? This is not what we're talking about. We're talking about this.
Like, this slowly started.
But here go the Republicans talking about kicking 22 million people off of insurance and taking Medicaid away from babies. Like, from babies and old people and the disabled, talking about, well, y'all can just get a job. Like, oh, really, girl? Is that what you... So children with cancer, like 5-year-olds, do we suggest they work? Like lifetime caps on treatment? Seriously? There are kids who run up $1 million hospital bills before they ever leave, like, the NICU. So, but anyway, you know, fight the good fight with your aunt on this, because this is just ignorance on her part and she could be doing so much better. And she should be.